Eli, we're done. Can you make sure you do the punk rock one?
Let's go! How
hard was it to just pose, like
Yeah, it's just it's definitely like something you have to plan out. Maybe just kind of what I helps me, I just write everything down and I'm like, okay, this is the look that we have, this is the vision that we have, so. But I feel you guys, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. You're just more skilled at that, to be honest, because we planned it all out. We talked, we're like this, there's no way we can mess this up. It's too basic. And then we still were like, so like, I don't know. But anyways, let's get into the topic because this is kind of like getting into the topic. So welcome back everybody to the Primas podcast. I am Cindy. Hey, everybody. And I'm here with my prima, Jessica. Jessica, what's good?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Primas podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Today, we have an amazing guest speaker, and I can't wait.
So, he was with us for season 1, and he's coming back to share some insight. We have a super awesome topic today. We're going to talk about networking and how to add humor and spice into your life. And welcome to the stage, Rudy.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me back. We're back. We're back in action.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Rudy, how's it going? Welcome back. It's almost going to be, no, not a year. You came late last year, right? Into season 1?
I think we met, was it October, November? Before the holidays, we definitely met up.
Yeah, definitely. So welcome back. How have you been since you last came on the Primas podcast?
Oh, a lot's happened, just evolving, changing, growing, learning. Just every day is like a new day, staying positive, staying hungry, and just, working a lot of my projects and all my visions that I have, because there's a lot too many. How are you guys? It's nice to see you guys and hear from you.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up season 2 right now. Me and Cindy need a huge break from each other.
Woo! I know. I mean, you guys, I love what you guys do though. It's fun. Like I said the last time, I love the dynamics you have, like the bond you guys have, and you guys been doing well. It's growing. So
thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. And I feel tired, just like I'm so excited for season 3. Like I've been planning season 3 a little bit, like we've been talking, for a while now, but I like that we're ending, like we're doing like, it's kind of like little chapters. I'm like, I'm over season 2. So like, I'm like, that's it. Like, I'm super excited that you were able to do come out with us this season. Because we just have one more season left. It's the season finale and I'm ready. I'm ready to take a little break.
That's cute. I love how it's like the season finale, like the next seasons. It's like, you keep that audience grabbed onto like your episodes. So that's nice. I love that.
Yeah. And legit, we started, even though I don't think we came out until July, we've been working on the podcast since last May. Like when we were doing our practice episodes, when we had our other Prima, like coming up with the logo. So it's been a whole legit a year. We've been working every week consecutively. And that's why I'm like, okay, Prima, I love you, but we need some space, bro. I need to miss you again.
We need like a little podcast applause for you.
Thank you.
So what are we getting into today? What's the hot topic of the day?
So today we're going to talk about the importance of networking, especially because I don't know, when I was, I follow you, Rudy, on Instagram and on YouTube, and you're very creative. And so I was like, I don't know too many people personally that are putting themselves out there as creators. And I feel like for those people who might want to, it's kind of like a part 2 to the first time you came on, how we were talking about self-branding. And so this time I want to focus a little bit on networking because we were able to have you on for two of our sessions because we were networking with you. And we've had such amazing speakers and we've met such cool people through the Primas podcast networking. And so I was like, we should talk about that. That was a huge part of our season 2, you know, meeting new people, and season 1. And Rudy, I know that you network a lot as well. So I was like, yay, this is going to be perfect for us.
Yeah, when you sent me the topic, I was like, oh, perfect. I love marketing. I love networking. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. So I felt just right on topic. So
and it's important to have these networks, because I kind of underestimated the network system, you know, like not only my professional, but now in the podcast, like when we're putting ourselves out there, it's a totally different ballgame. And I kind of don't like all the cameras on me, hypothetically, right? There, I don't have like a TikTok show, or I am doing my own E True Hollywood story in the background. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? It's a different perspective because I've always been behind the camera. And with this podcast, I'm learning to be in front of the camera, which is making me tackle a lot of insecurities, I would say, within myself, and to build my confidence and to have like this tough skin, because there's going to be negative critique. And I wasn't prepared for that coming into this. And I'm like learning to grow with it. But networking is important, like, you know, like to be creative and to interact with different minds and just to hear like bounce off ideas each other.
Yeah. And then your brain gets used to, I feel, just like repetitiveness. I think we talked about that in the last podcast, but when you start, like you say, the cameras and the videos, once you start like to do it more often and something that's repetitive, your brain just starts to like, it becomes like a norm to kind of just say, hey, I'm going to go in front of people and I'm going to talk, or I'm going to express my art, like your podcast or like my podcast that I'm doing. Or so as soon as you start to actually put your like art form on it and show people that platform, it becomes more comfortable. So it's just a matter of just like a repetitiveness in your brain.
Like practicing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get comfortable. So
my first question for you all is, how do you network? So for someone who's like new to networking, or for someone who wants to expand their network, let's all answer. We'll go around saying like, what are the methods that we use, what it means to us, and why it's important, and how we can expand it. That's a lot in one. So that's what the whole conversation is about. So we'll get to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, in high school, I was going to tell you, my friend, her name's Mary Ruelas. Shout out to little Mary Ruelas if she hears a podcast. But she just got her doctor's at USC, and she, ever since I like went to high school, she's always said, you know, it's all about networking, because she was always in honors and had like 4.0s and like organized. I'm like, what do you do? What's the secret? And she just always told me, it's all about who you know and how you present yourself and just letting people know what you do. So it always stuck to me. Even when I met Edgar, I was like, this is what my advice to you. So I feel like, you know, networking, showing people who you are, really just being your true self, not hiding away or like masking something. Just be raw, be stupid, be fun. Just be, you know, that's how people now are known. Just being like their authentic self. So
that's a good one. I like that. Being authentic self. That's a key term right there. That like what stood out to me, because it's easy to be like yourself in front of your family. Like Cindy knows me, you know, but then when I'm on social media, it's like we try to portray ourselves in a different light, but we need to bring that authenticness into like our social media platform or even this podcast. And it's easier said than done, but it takes a lot of practice and like a lot of trial and error, right? It's okay to mess up. Like we messed up so many times on this podcast, but we just kind of like leaned on each other and supported each other and then just moved on and like, okay, well, let's try to do better this way next time. So I like that. Yeah.
And something I like about you guys too is the different topics you hit, because that's also like a marketing strategy, because you're literally like hitting like women empowerment. Like you guys talked about like the Black Lives Matter, and then you go more into like marketing. So it's like more just like what's going on, and then you're going towards like, so you're hitting a lot of different people and different people's mindsets. So that gravitates like a big audience where it's like, ooh, I want to listen. So I think it's perfect, like the marketing strategies that you guys are doing.
Ooh, and that's Primas Cindy right there. Because if it were up to me, all I would be talking about is football and like murder scenes.
Oh,
Murder
wow.
scene.
But Cindy is the brains of that, Rudy. It doesn't look like, but she's the brains behind that.
Thanks. That means a lot.
I would love to hear a murder scene episode. I love that stuff. I watch always like murder scene shows and like jail shows and how people live and like all the. It's just it intrigues me. So that'd be actually a good episode for season 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's a good one. When I network, I try to when I reach out to different people, like I remember during school, it would be kind of hard to network, or I would always feel a little like, oh, well, what if they say no, you know? And I remember, I forgot who told me, but they're like, well, the worst you know they're going to say is no. So I was always kind of afraid of that rejection. And as I've gotten a little older, yeah, I would just be okay with putting myself out there or whatever I'm asking or trying to collaborate with whoever I'm trying to network with. I was always okay with that rejection aspect as well. Like, I know no one owes me anything, but you know, I would give my explanation into why I would want to network with this person. And if they shoot me down, no problem. At least I tried on my end, you know, but that gives me another opportunity to maybe think of someone else who wasn't on top of my list and go from there. But I would say like being okay with rejection from like networking.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big one. Networking, you just kind of described also dating. And I approach networking or connecting with other people, whether on social media or in real life. I approach it, yes, very authentically, like Rudy was saying, like it's always me. And I'm like, I'm always afraid that I'm going to scare them off because sometimes I'm a little too like excited and they're strangers essentially. And they're just like, I know I've turned off some people, which is totally fine because it is like dating. Like you need to scope out the scene. You need to check that person out. You need to see their profile. What value can they give me? What value can I give them? And then if it's a match, then I shoot my shot in the DMs because it goes down in the DMs.
Yeah.
And I'm always I'm in like out of maybe 50 people that I'll connect with and I go it's very time consuming, especially when they don't get back to you. But you got to do that. You know, you got to put the time in, especially if you have a podcast or like a brand you're trying to push. You have to. That's a part of the marketing game. Like it's a part of the business. Like I've been shot down and I've been rejected, but out of those 50, you know, like DMs or whatever, I'll get maybe like 7 replies. And those have been the people that we've done collabs with through the Primas podcast. And some of them are like mentors to us now. And it's cool. It's just, it's a huge benefit for us. We also try to offer the value of like, we're going to put you on, you know, a YouTube, you get this YouTube video, it's edited. And I don't, you know, you can refer people to it. You can, I don't know. And also give them the platform to share their story and their voice. Because if we reached out to you, it's because we think you're effing cool and we're like, ooh, we want to have you on. So yeah, that's how I approach.
But I know you mentioned me about the Marvelina thing. I mean, I started like during the pandemic and, you know, the Cuban lady with the little white wig and, you know, even me, like, you know, it's kind of like a negative side of it. Like I was just like, I gave up and I was like, oh, I'm not getting the likes that I want. And I'm not, you know, people were just like, the video's too long and blah, blah, blah. And so recently I just like started like not really, you know, giving, can we cuss on here? Giving a shit?
Yeah.
I started not giving a shit. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just put the videos down. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And this is how it is. And I'm just trying to just to hit, you know, the LGBT community. I'm trying to market like people just being themselves, people just, you know, the Cubans and like the people in Miami and just everyone just to like feel their authentic selves and just like raw talent. Just I think we have like we spoke about it last time, like the platform of the internet. Like Facebook, like I post everything on Snapchat and Instagram, and it's like I post it because I'm trying to reach all these people and like what you guys do, like you have to just keep at it, and then one day it will blow up, you know, until you know, you continue doing it.
Yeah, I want to shout out Marvalina real quick because so Rudy has a YouTube channel. You guys need to follow him. It's Rodolfo Raffles.
No,
and that's
yeah, it's a Rudy Krupnik, so it's YSS.
Oh, okay. For Raffles?
Raffles, that's a complicated one. It's RAFFULLS. But you could just follow me at Rudy Krupnik YSS.
Oh, okay. So he has a character which I absolutely love her. Like I love just I don't know, I identified with her and she cured my depression. Like that's how funny and authentic that character is. So I want to give a huge shout out to my Valina because she's a part of my I'm so huge on comedy. Like I'm always looking at skits and stuff. And
Oh.
so she's up there. So you got to bring her back. I saw you're bringing her back. So I
She's
hope she
coming.
comes back.
She's coming slowly. She's somewhere in there. She's somewhere in my soul, but she's coming out. I get that character from my mom and just all my
Yeah.
friends. Like when I was little, my mom would take me to bars and be like, "Siéntate para allá," and I'm like, "Okay," and they would just drink and party, and I'm just like, so when I grew up, I was like, man, I need to do something about this because I just, I took acting for a long time and drama and dance. So in my head, I always have these characters where I'm like, I have to embrace it and all these like thoughts that I get in my head, I have to just spit them out and like put them on video and show the world. So.
Oh, that's cute. Does your mom know that character was influenced by
Yeah, she just rolls her eyes and she laughs. She's like, "You're crazy."
her?
She's like, "Is that me?" I was like, "No, it's just influences from you that I've gotten. Like just the things that she says, like the drinking part, or just like if there's no food in the kitchen, like the video I posted today, like like I'm like, no hay nada de comer. Like, como que no hay nada de comer? And it's always just like, so it's just little things I record in my head that I'm like, I want to just act them out and bring them to like, TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. So.
If you can describe Marvelina to those who don't know her, how would you describe her?
She's spicy. She's crazy. She's just, she's like a Cuban wild, well, Latina, because I think all Latina moms are kind of spicy, but my mom, yeah, she's just like a spicy Cubana that's just like, boom, like always like, has her cigarette, has her espresso, and but she's just confident and she just, wants to talk, shit to the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that is her. Okay. So I wanted to talk about, because you were talking about Marvelina, I guess what inspired you to make it like a funny role? Because last week our topic was humor and how humor is medicinal. And so I just wanted to like shout out before we move on, like, yeah, where do you get your inspiration for it to be humorous? I guess. I don't know how to, deliver that question.
Well, I've always been like a funny guy. I love just bringing the humor out of anything, especially these times that we've been through. And I mean, things are getting better, but I always try to like just when people are down, I always make a joke. I'm that kind of guy that's like, "Oh my God, look at that," or like, "Let's make fun of this," and just joke about it. I don't like to see people sad. I don't like to. I mean, who wants to be sad? But it's like I like to bring people's spirits up. So with that character, my goal was to like to bring. Even now, posting all these videos that I'm posting, people are now like, "Oh my God, you made my day. Oh my God, I'm happy." And it's like, damn, if I can do that to all these friends, like, what can I do to the world? So it starts to kind of, again, it goes back to the marketing thing. Like you're hitting all these different kind of people that you didn't even know that existed that, are gravitating to your art. So.
That's good. I'm glad you didn't give up on her because I felt that. I feel how easy it could be to kind of just not continue with an idea or project we had in mind. But I agree with Cindy. Even though I'm not fluent in Spanish, I just love her energy and I still crack up at the videos too. And so you are captivating to a bunch of different audiences, and it has a lot to do with your confidence, I think. Like when I'm watching those videos, it's just your confidence spewing out, and in a good way, in like an attractive way, like, oh my God, he's so funny,
Yeah, that was the initial goal, just to be funny, just to be myself. In the beginning, it was scary before I like launched it, to be honest, because I was very like, oh my God, what is the world gonna think? Because like we're human, you start thinking like, what is everyone gonna think? But I'm learning to just like let go of that, not really care what people think, and just really see how it makes me feel. Like help others, but when I post it, it's more like, okay, how do I feel about posting that? And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy when I make content that makes other people happy. So that's where I stuck to that like in my head.
Yeah. That's I'm glad that you guys talk about that because the self-care tip of the day today is how do you handle you guys both talked about this early on. Either negative criticism or just like an insecurity. Like Jessica recently posted a video on our Prima's Instagram, and she has not done that yet. And I'm very like, I'm comfortable like to record myself, and I've been doing it forever, but Jessica never has. So I was just kind of like, when she's ready, it doesn't matter. Like she should be herself. And she did finally. And then I was like, whoa, that's growth. And so I wanted to ask, in case any, listeners are like, well, how it's scary. A lot of the time people don't put themselves out there or present their brand or their message because they're afraid of like, what are people going to think? So how do you guys handle what are people going to think? Because you posted it. That's brave.
Oh, Jessica, I want to hear from Jessica because
That's a good one. Yeah. I was gonna totally bring that up, Rudy. We're always joking around how like we're the same person. And I was totally gonna bring up that video because it did take a lot out of me. As I mentioned early on, it's so easy for me to record, whether I'm recording my daughter or other people or Cindy, but it's different when you flip that camera and it's on you. And I was very passionate about that topic. So yeah, I did. And then after I posted it, I even talked to Cindy about my insecurities. I was like, Prima, like I want to get my braces again. Like I was so self-conscious about my teeth and, cause I used to wear braces and I lost my retainer and they've moved and shifted. So I was just like, oh my God, like I wanted to delete it. And she was giving me all these like words of encouragement. She's like, no, dude, like everyone like really into this video. And, you just nitpick and you just see the slightest things that maybe no one else saw, but it's all about growth. It's all about putting yourself out there. And today I feel fine. Like I could look at that video, I'm like, okay, whatever. But in that moment, it took a lot out of me to be like, I was so like nervous and anxious and like what people were going to respond. And it was positive. So I can say it was good, but it is nerve-wracking because we have had negative like feedback and I try not to sit with it or dwell on it for so long. And it's all about, I think talking it out helps me when people do respond in a way that I'm not, you know what I mean? That I wouldn't necessarily say, but I have to take it. It comes with the good and the bad and putting yourself out there. It's not only going to be positivity, but with that, now that I'm at this age, like 31, I feel way more secure about putting myself out there than ever if I was in my early 20s. And I want to continue to like promote a positive image, like a self-body image, not have filters. And that video didn't have a filter. So I'm just like, even more so, like I didn't have makeup on. I only had my glasses and things like that I want to show, like just be comfortable with myself enough to do that. And it's okay, like looking back 2 weeks later, I'm okay with that video being out there.
But see, even just sharing that's beautiful. Just to hear that gives me a little bit of goosebumps. I'm like, it's nice to hear. I think that you guys should honestly, like, you have such beautiful personalities in the Primas podcast thing. Even show videos of you guys just at home, like, hey, it's me and my daughter, or we're chilling. It just that's like a marketing strategy because people are like, oh, hey, like, what are they about? I want to get to know more about their life. Let's hear their podcast. So it's like going back to that marketing thing that we're talking about. It's like people start to get intrigued by your life. So they're like, oh my God, look at Jessica. She cooks this. I didn't know about that. Oh my God, let's go listen to what she has to say. Or, so yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough. I'm not comfortable with doing that. And eventually I want to get to that point, but we're a year into the Primas podcast and I just made that video like 2 weeks ago. So you know what I mean? Like I wasn't so quick to throw myself out there like that. It's time. And I want to continue to like build that and roll off that confidence, but yeah, kudos to you for always filming yourself because I can't do that yet. I can't act silly like that yet.
I love filming myself. Well, it took a while though. It took a while, but I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna film myself and just, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And if you do, just tap like and just let's move on, but
yeah. And I have told Jess before, like, we need to record ourselves more. We're not together too often. So when we are, I'm like, let's do it. And we haven't been able to, but eventually we do hope to be able to get on. I'm sorry, you guys. Hold on.
I love your pigtails. They look cute.
Thank you. My mom hooked it up. Okay,
I just told her that.
what?
I know, Rudy, we were together in April, like Cindy and I, and we kept saying, we're going to record, we're going to go live, and we're going to do all this. And by the end of the day with our two daughters, that was a bad idea. We should have gave them like NyQuil at 7 p.m. Because by 9 p.m., we were just so beat and we never recorded.
Yeah, I salute you, moms, because I have a dog, which is, you can't compare it to a human, but I mean, she's like a baby, like she's like, oh, so I'm like, damn, when you guys have a lot of work, because I can't imagine having a baby. It's just so much work, I feel.
Yes, it is. It is,
Yeah.
especially because we work full time.
Oh, wow.
And then, they're little. That's the other thing. They're little. Because a lot of people are like, well, it's that age where it's even more tiring. But once they get older, they become more independent and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. And that's why I think I'm really proud of the podcast, regardless of the likes and the followers, is because I've always said from the beginning, we have to put in time. We have to practice in order to develop something of value that people, like some of the people that we pay attention to on podcasts or whatever, like we're taking the time to listen to them because they're offering something of value to us. And we can't just come out 1 year and be like, oh yeah, we got it. We have a bazillion followers. We have this. And that's nothing I've cared for. I've always been like, no, whoever is going to be for us it's going to be an authentic connection. It's going to be someone who just, and that's what we want. We don't want it to be like mainstream and like, let's just fucking everyone, and I'm like, no, I want people who are, I want to build a community, I guess. And I think we're doing that. Because now that I'm back, my personal account is back on Instagram. It feels so different because I've been helping on the Primas account, and we've built a community. Like just some of the, I'm like, oh my God, like I don't have some of the same followers, or just like I have my own little community, and it just kind of reminds me how powerful the social media tools can be. I've connected with, I mean, I don't want to say a lot, but like quite a few people that now we're like regular. We talk on not talk too much, but we'll comment or we'll share resources, or even it's just like a hi. People that I've never met in my life, but we've connected through social media. And I think the other part of being good at networking is making sure that the relationships that you are building, if you meet a match, kind of like the Tinder, right? Like if you get a match, oh my God, you have to really, it's almost like a romantic relationship. You have to really nourish that relationship, check in, interact with their posts. Like I really take care of the relationships that I've built. Like I'm very like, I want this person to take me serious professionally, like what our craft, but they also know my personal side, and that's building relationships, like when we do put ourselves, cooking, like you said, Rudy, like, or videos of us, doing things with our daughters or whatever. So
that would be nice.
Yeah.
I would love to. I see it as an audience member. I would love to see that. That'd be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like, I haven't seen her daughter. Like, I want to see, because I remember when I met Jessica, I remember Edgar's 21st birthday. We're like, woo! And now it's like, oh my God, as a mom, I can't believe you're a baby. That's crazy.
I know. Yeah. I get that all the time. I know. And I'm a little hesitant to like put her on the Primas podcast, and I put her on mine, but even so, now that she's getting older, and I want to be more mindful of that aspect, and I don't want to monetize off her, so I want to be very selective in like what I put on the Primas podcast. And it's about like making sure I'm comfortable with certain aspects of that too, and it's all those things we have to think about when we choose to put ourselves out there. And from day one, Cindy and I have wanted to do this podcast, to utilize this platform, to not only so people can like resonate with our stories, but so we can like be a positive platform, for other women like ourselves, or other people within our community, and it's things like that I haven't quite, I don't want to say like be okay with, but essentially that. I don't know if I'm okay.
I'm going to interview you guys now. What made you guys as cousins, so the listeners can hear, like, come together? Because, I'm sure you have a big family. What about you two that made you say, hey, let's do this together?
Oh, that's an amazing question.
Yeah, my brothers are gonna hate this question. They're gonna be like, oh.
No, don't hate me, brothers. Don't hate me, please.
Well, we actually are cousins. So we grew up together. Cindy and I, on our dad's side, our dads are brothers. We grew up together, and I'm the youngest of our other prima who started with us. So it was Cindy, Melissa, and myself. And it was us three when we were always together in Cypress Park. We were all 1 year apart. So these were the older sisters that I never had. And since I could remember, Cindy has always made me laugh. Like I would just nonstop be cracking up at her jokes. You know, even if she was saying like a sad story, I was laughing because I just always thought Cindy was so entertaining to me. I have no idea why. I give her way too much credit for being funny.
I thought you guys were like that. You and your mom were like that with everybody. And it's literally not to the podcast that you said it was with me. So I'm like, thank you guys.
You see, it brought you guys together. Like the emotions came out during the podcast that you didn't even know that.
I know, right? It's been therapeutic. Yeah, I think me and Jessica, you know, like in families or like in different environments, you click with certain people. And I think me and Jessica, I mean, we've clicked since we were little. Like I'm cool with all of my family members. I would have done a podcast with anybody, but not anybody. But what I'm just saying, like, I had been, I want to say, like, I feel like I can feed off of anybody, but at the same time, not everyone's down enough to put themselves out there and then to, on top of their own life, add, you know, something that we're not getting paid for. This is coming off of some, like a passion that we have about talking about like empowering topics, like Jess was saying, like empowering, you know, women and everybody to live their best life. And it's hard to find that. And so I was super blessed, but I was also asking the universe for like a while, like, I really want to put myself either on YouTube or on a podcast. I just feel like some of the stuff that psychology has helped me achieve, like personally, I'm like, oh, this can help other people. We know how to simplify it. I know how to simplify it. I don't, you know what I mean? And so Jessica was down. She also happened to major in psychology.
Wow,
so
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Sorry. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. So I feel super effing lucky. And then Eloy, our editor, my brother, I literally been begging him for a few years too. Like, please, like, cause he does a bunch of stuff, and I've always wanted to collab with him, but we finally, I don't know how we did it. I think because we started paying him.
Yeah.
The money came in.
Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's a good question, Rudy. Yeah. And her brothers hate us for always like talking about our relationship, but she's like a sister, you know, at this point. So that's our relationship. Oh man. And Cindy's been there through my ratchet days, my motherhood.
Our Highland Park days, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been partying for a while and then we became moms. Yay.
I know.
Sorry,
and then comes our break.
I interrupted you. You were gonna say a question. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I was gonna say, how has networking, if you guys can share maybe a story or a situation, whatever, where networking has benefited you on a personal level?
I would say like confidence, like just like I said before, it's like a repetitive task. So once you begin to do it so much, it becomes kind of like you know, like when you get up and you drive your car and you're like, you don't even think about that you're driving your car. You're just like, oh, I'm just gonna drive. It's just once you showcase and you break from that shell of like showcasing who you truly are, that's when like everything becomes so much easier. You know, with me, it was a little harder because like I went through the whole like coming out phase. Like people were, you know, my voice. I felt like I was feminine, and it wasn't. But now, like you see all these artists, like, you know, on MTV and stuff. Like the LGBT community is like so big, and it's like if they can do it, I can do it. You know, it's like don't limit yourself or don't put yourself in this box because of, you know, what people might think or what people might say, or like maybe you don't fit in, you know. So I think it took me a while, but I think now that I crossed over, and I think that I'm ready to build a mansion, you know.
Yay, that's awesome.
Great response. I love that. Confidence. I agree. For me, I would say understanding, just to hear people's stories, you know. I've always loved that aspect, and like getting to know different people, and I'm intrigued with them in this little aspect. I'm like, okay, I want to talk a little bit more. And then when we start actually getting into it and I start hearing their background and like their motivations, it's just it gives me that motivation, you know, and respect for them, and be like, okay, like this is a person I want on my side, or I want on my team, you know, and not necessarily like working for it, but like in my network, in my, what's that word, community, I would say.
Yeah, in your circle.
Yeah, in my circle. There you go. I like that one. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. And I've gotten so many benefits from building there. Like I said, I came back on Instagram, so I feel like I have my little community that people were like, oh, we missed I do a lot of meal prep stuff and like food justice stuff. And then on the Prima side, you know, we push the topics that we're talking about. And I think for me, I have a financial coach now. You know, I was going through some stuff early, like in February, March, and we met with Jessica Hernandez, she's a health coach, and like I can reach out to her now, like she'll check in sometimes. Those are the two top ones that I can think of, although I feel like we have a good relationship with pretty much everyone who we've talked to. But networking through the Primas podcast has also benefited me personally. So the other reason why I wanted to talk about this was to encourage others. Maybe you're not trying to push your brand. Maybe you're just trying to meet other people. Like Jessica said, like you're trying to build your environment or your group of like, oh, I can hit this person up to ask them about this. And so, yeah, so I think that's one of them. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was how I've benefited personally from networking has been kind of like what you were saying, Rudy. You start getting better at it. You know, like in the beginning, I was like, hey, I went through your feed, you know, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm way more natural. I'm more comfortable being myself. People have already rejected me. So you have to get through those rejections. You're going to get rejected. And the more you put yourself out there and hit these people up, and I'm like, hey, I'd love to work with you. We're doing this, we're doing that. And I don't get nothing back. And it's just like, that's a part of it. So once I accepted the rejection part, it's kind of like dating. Like once you accept it, you amplify your like possibilities, because now you're like, oh, I don't care. It's not embarrassing. Like it is in the beginning, but afterwards you're just like, no, that's networking. Like if you're hungry, like you said early, you know, Rudy, that you're like, I'm hungry, I'm out here for whatever your goals are, like that hunger, you gotta like get through all of the bullshit, you know, like get through all, like if someone doesn't want to work with you, that's good. That's okay. That's like that person or that topic or that moment wasn't meant to be. And so, yeah, so it's networking is a lot like dating, right? Like it's very like, you gotta be careful. And
yeah, I agree. It's going to be scary at first, but once you go on 20 dates and after like the 21st date, you're like, oh, I'm a pro at this. Who's next?
yeah.
It's thinking with all that stuff. But I think with you guys, it's I love because the people that are listening, they're going to listen to this. They're going to say, hey, it's okay if I struggle. It's okay if I don't get the right response, or it's okay if people don't like my stuff. You know, you might not care about that part. It's more of just being, like I said, your authentic self and just putting your stuff out there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the best marketing part, you know?
That's true. I agree.
I wanted to give an example real quick, just in case, you know, someone's listening. It's like, well, how would you DM somebody? So when I was, in case you guys have any examples, like, please share them. When I was meal prepping, like, so my whole page, my personal page, I put a lot of my recipes, meal prep stuff, grocery shopping, right? Whatever. And I'm building this kind of like portfolio. Like, I feel like every post is meant to push my brand. Even if it's unrelated to food, it's still kind of you getting to know a little bit about me. And so I've gotten in my DMs like, oh, can I ask you a question or about meal prep or whatever. So it's giving me the opportunity to, and sometimes I'll charge, like if someone's asking like elaborate, like put this plan together for me, like we've been talking, they're a little bit serious about it, then I'll get some money from it. And these are things that are so easy, like for me to do, but it is time consuming if someone's like, why can you put a whole weekly meal together for me? You know, that takes time. So, the other thing was when I was doing that, when I was like a little personal chef to some people and I was meal prepping for them, I would hit up like in the places on Instagram, where it says places, and I would look for either Denver or Aurora, Colorado. And then a lot of like local bikini models, and bikini models are like the buff, like the muscle models, like men and women. And so I would hit them up because those people have seasonal competitions. And I was at the time working on to get certified, like with like a nutrition certification. And so I would hit them up and I'd be like, oh, I'm certified. I can like, count all your calories for you, like for your whatever. And so that's how I would hit them up. So I wanted to just give that example that I would go into people's DMs and I'd say, check out my page. And then also I would offer a lot of free stuff. Well, free food. I'd be like, can I, taste 3 of my dishes for lunch for free? It's on me. And so you got to do a lot of free labor. Also, is another thing I wanted to throw out there was, but it got me paid. Some of these clients became like long-term clients, or they would connect me with somebody else. And so networking is just amazing because even if someone you meet doesn't work, you never know at what time something else is going to happen. Right. And like the time they might know somebody, be like, oh, I knew this girl that offered like a meal prep thing for me, 2 years ago, yeah. Or I'd hit up other people that would start following me that were like they lift weights. And I'd be like, hey, if you're ever in Denver, let me know. Like, I got you. Just taste my food, because they know someone in Denver. You know what I mean? So like,
being part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you mentioned that before, Prima, but other than that, I don't think I really knew you would do that. That's an amazing tactic.
Oh, yeah, that sounds really nice. I need a meal prep. I'm going to go through you. I need a little meal prep myself.
Yeah. And one thing that I'm doing right now, which is really cool with my financial coach, I hope I'm okay to share this, but I'm sure it's fine. She's like, you show me how to meal prep and then I'll show you what you need to know. And so that's another thing that I think is very beautiful. It doesn't always have to be money that you're exchanging. It could be like, hey, I like your body. There's like a lot of women on Instagram that I follow that are on that I'm like, yes, goals. And if they're not huge enough where they don't have a program, I'll be like, hey, what are your macros like? Or, hey, like little stuff like that. And so sometimes they share it, sometimes they don't, but still, it's like a different opportunity to network. And I do the same thing for the Primas podcast, Jess. Like anytime we've had like a guest or something, I try to butter them up. No, I'm just playing. Like I do a lot of research on them. Yeah, I do a lot of research. Rudy, you are such a natural that I'm like, oh, you're just one of those people that you could just go on and talk, and
I
with
love
other people. Yeah. What did you say?
No, I'm like, I love to talk. I could talk all day, every day. Every time it's like, shut up already. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm going to go to bed. I'm like, no, I want to talk about our day. Or I'm a Virgo. So like, I'm very like, I'm those people that sit on the table. I'm like, let's talk about our feelings. And people are like, oh, are you a Virgo? I'm very like, I get very interested in like the psychology part of people's head. I've always been like that since I was little. I'm like, why are you like that? And what makes you like that? Like, I always want to
Oh my God, those are the questions we always ask people too. Cindy's going to be coming out soon. We'll try to like invite you to our Primos get together.
Yeah, night out.
I know.
We're gonna turn the town red.
I don't think Edgar knows Cindy, but I told him, oh, Jessica's going to be there. He's like, I want to see Jessica, but he's at the office here in downtown. So he's like, I'm going to get out at 7. So I'm like, oh, I think by then, I think we're going to be done. But I told her, I said hello. I missed her. I haven't seen her in years. So
I know. It's funny how I talk to you more than him now, huh?
I know. He's like, damn, you like are like, now you're like in her side. I'm like, I haven't even seen her. She's like, that was my friend first.
Yeah, but we'll invite you when Cindy comes out so you can meet her and we could be on videos and you can show us a little bit like what to do.
Yeah, see, I have my little light right here and everything just to kind of.
Oh, I love it. That's so official.
Would you have podcast reunion?
I know we do. We should do something because they were supposed to come out here. Her and my brother were supposed to come out here, but now I'm going over there. So we should still do something, Jess.
Yeah, we are.
I know. No, but I'm saying like for the podcast. Okay.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's in your plan books for the week.
I always know that. I'll be like, oh, our Excel sheet needs to be updated. No, I'm just playing. I think. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about? I saw this really cool quote that said, "Your network is your net worth."
Message.
What do you think about that?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think the more you grow and the more, the more of like a popular audience you have, the more your network grows. But it could be, I mean, I see it more not just money wise, but just in like an internal thing. Because when I post and I get all this feedback, I feel like that's money to like my soul. When people are like, oh my God, I love you. And oh my God, you make me smile. Like I said earlier, like happiness, that to me is like money. It's like, it's beautiful to like, to grow your audience so big where it makes people feel good. Just like your podcast, I'm sure people listen to it and they learn something from it. That's like your goal from it.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Rudy. I was just going to say something because I was like, when I hear net worth, it doesn't really ring a bell for money either. It's more of like who I inspire or who can relate to me, makes me happier. I have more value in that aspect than any dollar amount. So, I mean, today that's the answer to the question. Who knows in 10 years what we'll feel like, but I think it's more of the connection and how many people we actually touch and inspire.
Yeah.
Value, the net worth.
Yeah.
That's a really good question, whoever got that question down.
I know, right? It's a little quote. I don't know who it was. I think that's okay. So the last thing I wanted to close on was like a solutions thing. One person for me that got me started on self-branding was Garyvee, Gary Vaynerchuk, super popular motivational business guru person. So I'm sure a lot of people know him, but I still listen to him to this day, and he's just been very motivational. I consider him like a mentor, because he talks a lot about marketing, although he never went, like he didn't study psychology or nothing. He has like a natural knack for reading the room, reading human behavior, and then also like forecasting human behavior in like certain things like apps or business or just little things. So he's really cool.
Is this the guy you showed me who has a podcast also?
I need to write that name down.
Is he the one you said?
Garyvee. Well, he does have a podcast, Jess. It's called the Garyvee Experience.
Yeah, I think you showed me his website, and he has like a merch store and all that.
All the listeners.
He's huge. He has like
a sorry.
No, yeah, and he has a lot of businesses. Like he's a big, yeah. So I'm sure. Yeah, but so he's huge. And then he talks a lot about self-branding, about not to be scared, how to network. So I did want to. He also, one thing that I love about him is that he says, okay, so the reason why I started to give free food out to like potential clients, I got that idea from him. He was like, if you're a photographer, get in people's DMs and be like, hey, I'd love to take pictures of you and your son for free. And like sometimes give out free packages of stuff. And so I got that idea from him. And then the other one he always says, provide value. Always, always, always when you're networking with someone, you need to make them feel, and it has to be authentic. That's why when I do meet someone or I think someone's cool, I research the heck out of them to see if we're going to have a connection.
Yeah.
Even before I know that they're going to say yes to me or not, I still need it to be like more real for me. Otherwise, I want it to be there for us. So yeah. So always remember to provide value of any kind, with networking. And yeah, I wanted to end on that. So what about you all?
Yeah, no, I everything you're saying, I agree. Like I said, just being your authentic self, showing off your craft, showing off your art, like really showing people, like, I think when people really engage with you, it's when you truly show like love for what you do. Like when you have a passion, when you see someone post videos every day and seeing people just talk about their feelings, that's like feel like when the public really likes like all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like, for example, you like, if they see you really meal prepping and every day, like you're just like putting videos and you're like working hard and you're editing and everything, I think that's when like the hard work starts to pay off, because you're going into people's minds and you're helping them. You're not just doing it for like clout or like, oh, I'm just like here, just, you're trying to really help people. And that's when you're trying to help people, I feel like it really comes across to like the audience.
Yay,
Well
awesome.
said. Well said, guys. Good topic.
good talk. You guys, I'm telling you, you guys have amazing topics. I've been seeing you guys this thing like, why? I wouldn't even think about talking. I mean, I don't remember all of them, but if I can go back, it's just all your videos have interesting stuff. I'm like, damn, I wish I was there. I would have said this or I could have said that, you know? But, like,
you got to tell us.
I think you guys should do like a round table. That would be cool. Like, you know, that red table with Will Smith's name?
Jada Pickett.
Yeah, she has I think that's so cool when people have a talk show like that on a table and they just like it gets filmed and people just say their emotions about like a topic, like what's going on. Like I love all that stuff too.
Okay. We're gonna look into that. Yeah. Yeah, we are looking for thought partners, Rudy. So we're gonna hit you up later on the DMs so you can share a little more knowledge with us. But no, that's a great idea.
Let's market.
Yeah, for sure. Yay. Yeah, I love this topic. Rudy, thank you so much for joining us. You are and always have been a primo. So thank you for like always being down with the primas and for supporting us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I hope that everybody listening, you know, can learn from this and grow and smile after this podcast. So
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Primas podcast. We so appreciate it. You have no idea. To our 31 followers, we love you. Is it 33? It's getting up there. First it was 22. Now it's like 34.
You better follow guys. We need 1,000 followers by next week. Let's do it.
I know, right? I think we're gonna have to do an OnlyFans. It's the only way, Prima.
I'm down.
Just while we get our numbers up, and then we'll go, and then we'll be like, all right, well, we were just playing.
Yeah.
That was a marketing scheme. Just kidding.
All fell for it.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. Leave us any feedback if you have any. And yeah, bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good time.
Bye.